Our founding fathers, Sir Ahmadu Bello, Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, and a host of others bequeathed us a united, peaceful and prosperous Nigeria. Let us honor them by living in peace with one another. Let us eschew violence, ethnic profiling and religious bigotry. We must avoid hate speech and other forms of derogatory words against our fellow Nigerians. Let our differences in tribes, cultures, religions, or politics be the ingredients that make our unity palatable. Let us all join hands to fight our common enemies of insecurity, poverty, and unemployment. Nigeria is big enough for us all. Let's unite to make our country a great place for us all. This message is from Sir Ahmadu Bello Memorial Foundation in collaboration with Nigerian Television Authority, NTA.
Of great people, different tribes and languages, yet we are united in our diversity. All over the world, Nigerians are known to be very hardworking and resilient people. In our history as a nation, there have been many storms, but just like the eagle, we always soar very high above the storms. Together, as a nation, we stood against Ebola virus disease in 2014, and we conquered. Together as a nation, we shall stand against COVID-19, and we shall surely triumph. Let's do our part as citizens, obey the health authorities, stay at home, practice social distancing and proper hygiene. When this is over, and very soon it will be, we shall dance again at the Calabar Carnival, the Eyo Festival, Celebration, Ojudeoba Festival, and Aragongo Festival. When this is over, and very soon it will, we shall flock the beaches again. We shall attend our music concerts again. We shall invite the world once again at the Lagos City Marathon. When this is over, and very soon it will be, we can return to our hustle and bustle. We will gather at our churches and mosques. We shall return to our schools and institutions. Our hope is alive. We are Nigeria, and together we shall rise again. Nigeria Film Corporation.
It's May 1st, a special day for workers. We wish Nigerian workers happy Workers' Day celebration. But for workers to give their best in terms of productivity, they must be healthy. So our focus on Weekend File tonight is health-related, the Hydra-headed COVID-19 virus. Humanity has habitually been threatened by diverse plagues since the existence of man. One of such is the surge of what has become a global pandemic, coronavirus, also referred to as COVID-19. Following the severity of the virus, frantic measures were taken to curtail the spread of the virus, and these propelled the federal government to initiate certain guidelines to align with the WHO's safety protocols aimed at taming the spread of the deadly virus. Failure to adhere to these guidelines expectedly breeds danger to the nation and the health sector. but the level of compliance to these guidelines have remained a concern, especially in Nigeria. Following the second wave of the virus, the Minister of Health, Dr. Osage Hanire, had at a forum expressed worries that the second wave of the infection is the situation that must be averted, and a consensus was reached during the Presidential Task Force meeting that for such to happen, all steps must be taken to ensure the citizenry comply with the safety protocols. How much of this has been achieved? This would be the crux of tonight's discussion. Welcome to Weekend File. Joining me later live during the discussion segment will be Dr. Mukhtar Mohammed, Technical Head, Presidential Steering Committee on COVID-19, and he is also the National Incident Manager on COVID-19. I am Joseph Johnson, and as usual, the news comes first. So, it's another day to celebrate the resilience and sacrifices of workers, and Nigeria was not left out on this global celebration. Interestingly, however, the Nigerian worker and the government are sharing a common sentiment on improved welfare packages. This was the position of labor leaders and government officials at the 2021 Workers' Day celebrations in Abuja. Thomas Ogbetere reports.
To the one before the COVID-19 pandemic, the 2021 Workers' Day celebration was marked low-key, while still featuring the traditional march past. Some who spoke with NTA crew say there is need for a harmonious relationship and understanding between government at all levels and the different unions geared towards ensuring improved welfare for workers. They also used the opportunity to call for a drastic action towards tackling the problem of insecurity bedeviling the nation.
Security is a collective task. We reiterate our call for improved social protection and investment in social services to deal with human insecurity.
When we come together like this, we try to look at issues and then see how conditions of service can be improved upon, how we can also collaborate with government to ensure that the economy is doing very well.
If you don't pay the worker, and then the other businesses, other collateral effects of on other businesses begin to, amplify. It simply means that so many people will be out of job.
President Muhammadu Buhari, who was represented at the occasion by the Minister of Labour and Employment, Chris Ngige, assured Nigerian workers of government's unwavering support.
And workers in turn have utilized the key instrument of social dialogue to unlock workplace cohesion and cooperation by reaching social pacts with their employers.
The consensus will be for workers and government to look for harmonious ways to resolving issues before they get to the level of industrial action. The theme of this year's workers' celebration is COVID-19, social and economic crisis, challenges for decent work, social protection, and people's welfare. In Abuja, Thomas Ogbetere, NTA News.
And Lagos State government will continue to place premium on its workforce and prioritize policies that will make life more meaningful for them. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu stated this while assenting to the demands of organized labor at this year's Workers' Day in Lagos. Musa Toliat reports.
First-time organized labor unions are hosting Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu at a Workers' Day celebration in Lagos following the COVID-19 pandemic, which grounded all activities in 2020.
We must commend you most profoundly for the approval given to the organized labor for the establishment of what will be known as Workers' Village.
NSC has 56 affiliate unions, representing about 130,000 workforce in the public sector alone. We don't have a secretariat.
This year's Workers' Day celebration would probably go down in the history of organized labor movement as one of the best they have witnessed in recent times. This is because all their demands got the nod of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu in real time.
They have asked us to provide for them housing estates, land, so that they can go and raise funding for housing estates. I'm handing over 5 hectares in Idera and 5 hectares in Badagry for the labor today. In 12 months, we'll give you a building that will be worthy for your association.
Governor Sanwo-Olu thereafter proceeded to commission the Solidarity House built by the Lagos State branch of the Association of Senior Civil Servants of Nigeria. The 2021 Workers' Day celebration had the theme COVID-19 pandemic, social and economic crisis, challenges for decent jobs, social protection and people's welfare. In Lagos, Musa Toliat, NTA News.
Well, it was not only Abuja and Lagos affair. Other states also had a feel of the day, as compiled by Ruth Aguele.
Despite the challenges resulted from the COVID-19 pandemic, workers across the country did not hold back in this year's celebration of Workers' Day. A day to celebrate workers' contribution to nation building and also an opportunity for workers to make demands for their welfare to be put into consideration. In Lokoja, workers came out in mass to mark the day while presenting their demands.
I wish to appreciate the labor leaders again and the entire workforce for putting up this program, for their support for this administration thus far.
In Jigawa State, workers converged in solidarity to reckon with the day's celebration, as their demands is not different from their counterparts in other parts of the country.
Go out to work. Choose an alternative occupation. Increase your wealth by thinking. Increase your wealth by being active.
Workers in Uyo chanting in solidarity to commemorate the day, an opportunity to present their needs for adequate consideration, with stakeholders giving them assurances.
We pledge our readiness to work with government at all times in partnership and to actualize the completion agenda of this government for Akwa Ibom State.
In Kaduna State, it was a colorful celebration for workers in the state, although a low-key celebration as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. However, the workers' expectations was high.
The collapse of the industrial sector is the reason for the plague of mass unemployment, poverty and insecurity ravaging our country.
In Kebbi State, workers were commended for their patience, understanding and support in driving the policies and programs of the state's administration to the next level.
We just hope that improvement and obedience to our status quo will be the hallmark to attaining greater height in our country.
We believe that both NLC and TUC should sit down and understand what are these issues. As a state governor, I'm committed to financial autonomy of both legislature and judiciary.
Overall, it is hoped that workers across the country will continue to put in their best as the country strives for economic prosperity. In Abuja, Ruth Aguele, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the All Progressives Congress has commended Nigerian workers as key drivers of the socio-economic policies and infrastructural revolution of the Buhari administration. The party, in a statement by John James Agbanudoidege, National Secretary, Caretaker and Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee of All Progressives Congress, assures workers and indeed all Nigerians of government's resolve to protect the lives and property of all and seeks the patience and cooperation of Nigerian workers for greater patriotism from everyone. Similarly, the Speaker, House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, has paid glowing tributes to Nigerian workers on this year's Workers' Day. Gbajabiamila said Nigerian workers are worthy of being celebrated, noting that the Nigerian system remains stable due to the dedication and sacrifices of the workers, as the 9th House of Representatives remains committed to improving the working conditions of workers. In the same vein, the Ministry of Labour and Employment, on its part, extends good wishes to Nigerian workers. The Minister, Dr. Chris Ngige, recalls that about this time last year, workers could not gather as usual to mark the May Day celebration as a result of the outbreak of COVID-19. Dr. Ngige notes that the federal government took practical steps in 2020 up until now to curb the menace and ensure that Nigerians get vaccinated, and called on all Nigerian workers to take advantage of the ongoing vaccination exercise. The minister further assures the Nigerian workforce that President Muhammadu Buhari is not oblivious of the challenges that they are facing at this time under the watch of the federal government, has committed enormous resources towards protecting and promoting decent work standards across various sectors of the national life, particularly in the education and health sectors. Workers have also been captured on the new Rapid Response Register for urban poor and other forms of post-COVID-19 palliative measures and social protection. Also, the Minister for Women Affairs, Dame Pauline Talin, joins the rest of the world in celebrating the Nigerian workers. The Minister urged workers to use this year's celebration to reflect on their roles as nation builders and ensure they renew their allegiance to making Nigeria greater through their various endeavors. She reminded the workers, in line with the mandate of her ministry, to ensure they contribute their quota in making the Nigerian society peaceful and safe, especially for the women and the girl child, who are most vulnerable in the society. Turning to other news of the day now, in the light of recent attacks in Imo State, Governor Hope Uzodinma has urged residents of the state to go about their businesses without fear, as the government is collaborating with security agencies to ensure their safety. He made this known in a broadcast at Government House, where Bright Obocho reports.
The recent violent attack in Imo State, especially the destruction of security facilities, has instilled fear in the minds of residents of the state. It is in the light of this that Governor Hope Uzodinma, on his return to the state, affirms government's commitment towards the protection of lives and property.
Let me use this opportunity to assure all Imo people that I will leave no stone unturned in ensuring the security and safety of all of us. Be rest assured that my administration is willing, able, and capable of protecting the lives and property of all Imo people and residents alike. Without any fear of contradiction, I can declare to you that the recent security challenges in the state have been effectively contained.
Governor Uzodinma also appeals to stakeholders to partner the government in its efforts towards preserving the integrity of the state. In Owerri, Bright Obocho, NTA News.
A national caucus meeting of the People's Democratic Party has ended in Abuja with the resolve by governors on the party's platform to work with their state assemblies to find lasting solution to the nation's security challenges. Timothy Yusuf has more.
Members of the National Caucus of the People's Democratic Party comprised state governors, principal officers of the National Assembly on the party's platform, and members of the National Working Committee as well as the party's Board of Trustees. They all converged on the Akwa Ibom Governor's Lodge in Abuja for the meeting, which had only one agenda: security state of the nation. Although held behind closed doors, the meeting notes that the rising insecurity across the country cuts across party lines, religion and ethnicity.
Terrorism, banditry, kidnapping, cattle rustling, rape, arson, mindless murder of citizens and even security agents is ravaging the land. This thing is not about party, it's about our country, so that we can rescue our country from the hands of these criminals.
With the governors calling for decentralization of the nation's security architecture, they promised to work with the recommendations of the meeting. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Ibrahim Atahiru, has approved the renaming of the ongoing counter-insurgency operation in the northeast from Operation Lafia Dole to Operation Hadenkai. A statement by the Director, Army Public Relations, Brigadier General Muhammad Yarima says this is premised on the fact that the Nigerian Army has made a lot of progress over the years and needs to realign for better efficiency. Similarly, redesignation of the Army super camps, which now reflect the nomenclature of the formations and units, followed by the name of the locations they occupy, while sub-units are redesigned as forward operating bases, followed by the name of their locations. All these changes are with immediate effect. Brigadier General Yarima notes that the renaming is in line with the Chief of Army Staff vision of having, quote, a Nigerian army that is repositioned to professionally defeat all adversaries in a joint environment. A 15-wagon goods train conveying water piles from Lagos to Zaria has derailed from its track, emptying some of its content in Kaduna. Haruna Mohammed reports.
The train loaded with more than 870 tons of water pipes derailed adjacent Arewa House at Ungwankanawa in Kaduna. Investigation reveals that the train derailed from its track as a result of railway sleeper pin, which were vandalized and carted away. Although no official was available for comment during our visit, security personnel have been mobilized to the scene for the safety of the items. In Kaduna, Haruna Mohammed, NTA News.
Federal government has expressed concern over housing deficit experienced by Nigerians and restates determination to address the issue. Minister of State, Ministry of Works and Housing, Abubakar Aliyu, was speaking at the 9th meeting of the National Council of Lands, Housing and Urban Development holding in Jos. Priscilla Gurumnang reports.
More than 20 million Nigerians are said to be faced with housing deficit in the country. Rising population, rapid urban migration, and uncoordinated government policies are some of the critical factors deepening this housing gap. Critical players involved in land, housing, and urban development at the federal and state levels are brainstorming on how best to access affordable housing.
State government control much more land. The use of land as a law, as a tool to enable cooperatives within their states to build can be very impactful in changing the affordability and accessibility paradigms in the COVID-19 era and beyond.
To encourage people to key into such initiatives, we've also approved a 15% discount on all land-related charges in the state. This has seen many people also taking advantage of the opportunity to formalize their land documentation.
At the end of the meeting, resolutions will be arrived at that will go a long way in reviving the housing sector.
The theme for the 9th annual meeting is Housing Delivery in the COVID-19 Era and Beyond, the Strategies for Affordability and Accessibility. In Jos, Priscilla Grumnan, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari felicitates with the General Secretary of Newspaper Proprietors Association of Nigeria, Mohammed Idris, on his 55th birthday. In a statement by his Senior Special Assistant on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, the President joins family members and friends to celebrate with the influential media and communications entrepreneur whose profile continues to rise. Mohammed Idris, the Kakaki of Nupe, is the chairman of Bifocal Group, owners of WeFM 106.3 and publisher of Blueprint newspaper. President Buhari salutes his courage to invest in the vibrant and dynamic Nigerian media industry and working diligently to always ensure fairness, balance and accuracy. You're watching Weekend File on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. Time to bring you some messages, and we are back with the rest of the program. Stay with us.
Here today, gone tomorrow. 'Cause you volatile like the water, and you promise what you don't know. Sometimes it's right and then it's so wrong. Them go do like say them why. We promise you the world, my brother, all now was you. Up all of the open eye. I said no be water, can't you not be letter?
Airtel, the smartphone network.
It's a good day and everyone's excited. Feel the rhythm, let's get the party started. Move your body to the groove. I should have feeling this bedroom. Anywhere you go, forget about your age. It no matter who you be, you better go enter body. It no matter where you go, I beg you start to jolly. Different movie, the shalala. Now we get the vibe, yo yo. Enjoyment, yapa, celebration, na na na. Osa, osa. Osa, osa. Give me that smooth groove. Osa, osa.
Think Chapman, drink smooth.
Nigerian youths are about the greatest assets the country has at the moment. It is therefore not surprising that the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari is strategically responding to the yearnings of the youth through multiple projects and programs. Youth entrepreneurship support years by Bank of Industry, the Youth Investment Fund by the CBN, and several other conditional cash transfer programs. Recruitment of 774,000 social workers, majority of whom are youths, and so many other projects that are beneficial to youths directly or indirectly. If the administration can do all this, definitely with a degree of patience and time, it can achieve more. Nigerian youths must come together to say no to terrorism, no to vandalism, and no to all disruptive tendencies. Hashtag Youth for Greater Nigeria. Pacifying the youths, unifying the nation.
My name is Osage Ehanere. I am Minister of Health. We have just taken the vaccine. It is the AstraZeneca vaccine. This vaccine is safe, properly researched. It is in use in many countries. We urge all Nigerians to submit themselves to taking this vaccine, persons who are 18 years old above. Otherwise, it is safe. You take your second dose after a period of about 10 to 12 weeks, and then you have immunity. Nigeria is aiming to vaccinate 70% of our population, and therefore be one of that 70% to give us herd immunity. Herd immunity means that Nigerians will not easily become infected even if they get in contact with the coronavirus.
You're watching Weekend File with me, Joseph Johnson. The world literally went to bed on the last days of 2019, no thanks to COVID-19, though a solution was partially found through the syringe in 2020. But the virus, which is still in a killing mood, is yet to surrender. Death toll has surpassed 3 million, and it's not the best of times for India, especially. For some, COVID-19 is striking for the third time, and it is a new variant. So, in this report, Adebola Brookslyn Sunday takes a look at this devastating situation ravaging the world.
Just like the outbreak of normal flu, the coronavirus disease 2019, also known as COVID-19, broke out in China.
I'm declaring a public health.
It was declared a public health emergency of international concern and later a pandemic in 2020 when it began to spread to countries of the world.
Our greatest concern is the potential for the virus to spread to countries with weaker health systems.
From Europe to Africa, political leaders, scientists, health institutions, and the World Health Organization have intensified efforts to find a solution to the pandemic. Some of these efforts brought about the Madagascar herb and steps by some countries to begin to look inwards. All these have been far from solution to the infection. In India, the virus has been on rampage. Every day is a dream record of cases, thousands of people dying every hour, and many lockdowns have returned, making several countries to keep sending help to the world's second largest country. Health officials in Brazil are blaming more infectious variants that were first detected in the United Kingdom and South Africa, along with public fatigue, as the major causes of the second wave in their country, as April was rated the deadliest month of COVID-19 in some countries.
The virus mutates, the virus changes over time. This is one variant of interest that we are following.
An analysis by the World Health Organization has shown that the risk of COVID-19 resurgence remains high in several African countries due to poor adherence to public health measures, mass gatherings, low testing and vaccination rates, which is also obvious in Nigeria.
As we move into what I call the next phase of the response, now that it's becoming clear to everyone that there's no magic bullet that will make this go away, we now have to really think about how to restart all the services. And that's really what we're doing in Nigeria right now.
Some of the questions begging for answers now include, do the vaccines still work against the mutants? Why are vaccinated people getting infected? And what can the world do differently to completely defeat this unseen enemy, coronavirus? Adebola Brookslyn Sunday, NTA News.
So, new variant comes with new assignment for the medical world. In most cases, nations go inwards for solution. So, in this report, Lynn Leneke takes a look at what Nigerian scientists and researchers are doing to ensure the nation is not overwhelmed by the growing number of new variants.
In total, I know you looked interactive with over 4,000 people that had COVID from over the course of the year.
Given the statistics as average in the University Teaching Hospital, Lagos, in varying categories of COVID-19 cases, medical experts opined that preventive measures will effectively curtail the spread of all variants.
There is the issue of the new variants that were now involved. Because hospitals do not routinely do genetic testing on all samples. So what happens is that when somebody comes to suspected COVID and a PCR test is done, the aim of that test is to show whether the person has COVID or not. If you want to do further testing to find out what type of organism is causing it, that's where the variant now comes in. You have to do, further and advanced testing, which is not done center by center.
Now, the genetic architecture of the virus is studied and used to determine oftentimes how to make diagnosis with PCR, for example. So a lot of scientists will target some of these immunogenic proteins in the virus. So when that changes, then it may have implication for detection.
Just when the turbulent journeys seemed to be coming to an end, another challenge reared its head: mutation of the virus, giving rise to new variants.
The SARS-CoV virus mutates quite commonly, but many of them do not have significant clinical implication. There are quite a number, or some rather, that following mutation, it confers on them a significant difference in the virus behavior.
COVID-19 has been a global challenge for more than a year as it spreads fast across borders. Though the aggressive application of non-pharmaceutical measures has helped in flattening the curve, medical experts maintain that vaccination is the best option. In Lagos, Lynn Lenake, NTA News.
A new variant of the COVID-19 virus is spotted in India, and the death toll is rising and already detected in more than 21 countries. The only gateway is the international borders. Aviation correspondent Emmanuel Yimero reports on the measures put in place to prevent the importation of the virus to Nigeria.
It's another calamity for India as the country struggles to breathe due to the new COVID-19 variants that is causing death of thousands of its citizens despite vaccination. Consequently, prices of the new antivirus vaccines have skyrocketed. Military planes and trains are being deployed to airlift cylinders from neighboring countries as oxygen becomes scarce, with factories exhausting their supplies. The desperation for survival leading to unending queues. As death rate reaches 1,000 daily, with others suffocating from lack of facilities, Britain, Saudi Arabia, and many other countries have banned international travel from India and have been sending relief items to salvage the situation.
100,000 surgical gowns, 100,000 goggles, 100,000 pairs of gloves, and 20,000 face shields.
As many countries ban travel from India to prevent global crisis, the question is, how does a country like Nigeria refortifies her borders, just like it was done during the early surge of COVID-19?
If you say, let everybody come in, let the airlines move as freely as they can, they're going to bring us, the virus, and disease will ravage us. We must, on daily basis, choose which way to go in order to save lives here, which airlines to ban.
The task before the Presidential Steering Committee of COVID-19, many ask, is what new measures are going to be applied in a country like Nigeria to stop another wave, having seems to survive the second wave. Emmanuel Ayimiro, NTA News.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Let's get talking now, as I have with me Dr. Mukhtar Mohammed. He's the Technical Head, Presidential Steering Committee on COVID-19. And of course, he is also the National Incident Manager on COVID-19. Doctor, you're welcome to Weekend File.
Thank you. Good evening.
All right, let's just get to know what's the overall compliance level with COVID-19 preventive and control measures so far.
Well, so far in Nigeria, if you have observed, even in Abuja and other major cities, we will not say that we are satisfied with what we see regarding compliance. People have dropped their guards. Public places are no longer enforcing the protocol. And generally, I would say that people have really forgotten and moved on, and thought that maybe COVID is gone, and therefore business has continued as usual.
That's the current status as we speak, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so what are the strategies employed and to be implemented, to control the spread of the virus?
So the thing is, the strategies that have been employed are what we have as the non-pharmaceutical interventions, because the infection still continues to spread among people, even though we are seeing low levels now. But with what is happening globally, it is something that we should learn. It should ring in our ears. And honestly, we are very apprehensive right now, seeing what is going on in other climes. We have to take serious measures. We have to bring back these enforcement measures. We have to safeguard the country to ensure that our first line of defense is strengthened, which is the airports, the international travel, and ensure that we don't go into a third wave of this pandemic.
Yes, because just like our aviation correspondent talked about, I mean, the airport is now the only avenue through which these the virus can be imported into the country. So, are there mechanisms to check, the compliance level? Monitoring, to monitor the...
Absolutely. We have fortified the airports and recently also, with the happening globally, we have strengthened these measures. We have increased the number of staff, that is the health staff, that are monitoring the passengers that are arriving. We have some strict measures. People who are coming into Nigeria must do a PCR COVID-19 test before you come into the country. And after you arrive, you will also do another test after 7 days. And when people arrive into the country, they go into self-isolation, for a period of 7 days, and then do a test on the 7th day. However, with the recent happenings now, the Presidential Steering Committee has taken a very serious look at what is going on, and we have tightened these measures. We have identified countries that are very high risk, and we are implementing travel restrictions that will start very soon for passengers arriving to Nigeria from these countries.
All right, so let's talk about awareness programs. Are there awareness programs embarked upon in Nigeria to sensitize people about these guidelines?
There are so many awareness programs that are going on and at various levels. The federal government, of course, is trying to, has been sensitizing the public, the Presidential Steering Committee, and even from the days of the PTF, we've been having daily press briefings, we've had weekly press briefings, we've had media interviews, there are press releases, and there are so many sensitization activities. At the state level also, the same things are happening. You have the state task forces, you have the ministries of health in the states, and there are a lot of these advocacies and sensitizations going on. There are engagements with people, particularly the important stakeholders, the traditional leaders, religious leaders, and we have all sensitized them, and we continue to sensitize them. But the question is, what is the impact?
I was just about to come to that. How effective?
Honestly, what we see nowadays, people have really dropped their guard, like I mentioned, and we are not happy about it. And with what is happening globally, this is really a wake-up call for Nigerians to know that COVID-19 is not gone. What is happening in India is really sad, is devastating, and we are not immune from it. Nigeria shares a lot of the parameters, population and demographic parameters, with India in terms of our population, in terms of the socio-economic status, in terms of education, in terms of healthcare. We share a lot. Our population pyramid is kind of the same also. You have more children, than you have the elderly in the population. And yet India is a little more advanced because, even the vaccines we got in Nigeria, we got them from India. And the Indian government also donated additional 100,000 to Nigeria. Now, India is the largest producer of these vaccines in the world. And yet, with that, now that they have even stopped export of these vaccines, using it for themselves, and yet see what is going on in that country. It's really a very sad story, and Africa and Nigeria really have to wake up. We have to take serious steps. People have to comply. We have to put in enforcement measures. And right now, as I'm talking to you, all options are on the table. Any option that we need to take to make sure that Nigerian people are protected is on the table, and it will be taken.
All right, let's take a break at this point, and when we come back, we talk more. Stay with us.
Everybody want joy. Everybody want love. Everybody want to glow. Nobody want party love. Everybody want joy. Who don't like it better? And if you wanna talk to mommy, if you wanna top your Friday, if you wanna run online, if you want plenty data, if you wanna go do one more 7, he says 777. Let me hear you say this super number. 777. For easy life, you no get you wahala. 777. When you use the code, it be like you in lotto. 777. Let me hear you say this super number.
The whole sensational world of love, now accessible through one code, *777#.
Thanks for remaining with the NTA. Let's just quickly remind you that you can get more news and updates on www.nta.ng or follow us on our Twitter handle at NTA News Now. You can also like us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/NTA Network News, and also stay connected and subscribe to our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/NTA News Online. Also, remember to watch our news live streaming at www.nta.ng/live. The fear was high at the beginning, but it has slightly subsided with the discovery of vaccines. The shipment of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine to Nigeria was greeted with excitement, but for some with somewhat reservations. The concerns raised by some compiled correspondent Salwa Khalil Ibrahim to x-ray the issues surrounding COVID-19 hesitancy by few.
Vaccines are established as one of the most effective public health interventions for disease prevention. However, Nigeria is a country with history of vaccine hesitancy. In the face of COVID-19 comes the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine, which was developed after a rigorous research and clinical trials. Safety and potency confirmed and subsequent authorization by WHO and Nigeria's health regulatory bodies. Yet, some Nigerians are beclouded by myths, misconceptions and panic about the vaccine, hence the attendant hesitancy.
That it even affect the respiratory system. But I'm not sure about that. It's what I saw. Sorry.
So I haven't taken the vaccine yet, but I'm kind of scared because of the side effects.
So I want to see the outcome for those who have taken it. For now, I'm COVID-free.
Meanwhile, I visited one of the COVID-19 vaccination centers in Abuja, where I was told that they record between 70 to 100 clients daily. I also met Adeniyi, who is rendering assistance as a volunteer in the clinic.
Well, one of the advantages, major advantages, is that if you take the vaccine, you will not be critically ill. So what I've tried to use this opportunity to do is to sensitize people.
We have no choice than to just come and take it because it's for preventing ourselves from the virus.
About 100 countries have since begun administering the vaccine, with over 40 million people vaccinated globally, including over 1 million people in Nigeria. Authorities say there has not been any reported case of side effect from the vaccine.
But if there's any independent scientific fact that compares what we're doing in Nigeria with what's happening in, say, other African countries, we're vaccinating, more than 2-3 times what other countries are vaccinating.
Transmission of the coronavirus continues across the globe, just as the current devastating effect seen in India, with other countries, including Nigeria, at risk. Meanwhile, Nigeria is set to begin the rollout of the second dose of the vaccine and subsequent continuation of the vaccination exercise, which could be the most effective antidote to the virus, hence the need for the citizenry to come forward for the jab. In Abuja, Salwa Khalil Ibrahim, NTA News.
All right, so let's pick up on the last report, which highlighted frightening and blatant disregard for the safety protocols. Now, Doctor, does taking the jab simply translate to, reduction in observing the COVID-19 safety protocols? Because, like you did observe, that's what we see these days. So, does it translate to that?
How many people have we vaccinated?
Especially wearing a face mask,
Yes, how many people have we vaccinated? And so far, it's only the first dose that has been given. If you are given the first dose, you are not completely protected. Yes, you have some protection, but that does not mean you should stop taking the public health measures. People should continue to wear their mask, people should continue to observe social distancing, and people should continue to observe safety in public places. Even if you take the second vaccine, there is still the possibility that you can be infected and you can also transmit that infection. And considering the number of people who have been vaccinated in this country now, we're just talking about a little above 1 million. That is not enough. So that should not explain the drop we are seeing in the preventive measures that people have completely, abandoned.
But are there, measures, or can those people flagrantly, blatantly, refusing to wear face mask, can they be penalized in a way? Because like today is May Day, and I have seen in some of the reports that we've been airing and across news channels, flagrant disregard to safety protocols. So what are we preaching? What are we saying in this regard? How can these be fully enforced?
Absolutely. And, Mr. President has done the right thing by passing the health protection regulation, which empowers the security agents, authorizes the governments to take these measures, to level where people can now be punished or penalized. We have asked the state governments, and a lot of them were willing to do it. To set up tribunals, to set up compliance and task teams to go around and arrest, find people that are not complying, close down public places that do not flagrant or that are flagrantly, disobeying this regulation, and also, fine individuals who do not comply. However, is the general lethargy in the system that people have not seen, maybe the numbers are going down, testing is not being carried out, everyone and the economy is fully opened, and therefore people just assume that COVID is gone. But that is not true. Considering what is happening now in India, in Turkey, in other states, it's really a serious wake-up call for us and our authorities to begin to put these measures and ensure that we enforce compliance.
Okay, so I understand that NAFDAC has approved Pfizer. So I don't understand, people who have taken the AstraZeneca vaccine, are they also going to take the Pfizer?
No. People should stick to just one vaccine. The efficacy is nearly the same if you take the double doses of Oxford AstraZeneca. If Pfizer eventually becomes available in Nigeria, people who have taken Oxford AstraZeneca should not take that vaccine. There is no indication for people to move across different vaccines.
But how will people know when they go to the centers to take the vaccines? Are they measures to educate people that you've taken this, or which are you taking?
So there are. Our standard operating procedure requires that people are pre-registered. You are registered before you take the first dose of the vaccine. So your data and the information is stored electronically. And when you come for the second dose, they have to call up your data to get your name, your address, your telephone number, and then it will be seen. Yes, your name is so-so, you have taken this vaccine on so-so date, and you are due for the second vaccine on another date. And therefore, if you have not taken the vaccine before, your name will not appear on the database, and then you are eligible to take the new available.
Okay, just quickly, your final thought. I understand the WHO has just, advised that it's most likely that African countries, might be witnessing resurgence of cases. What can Nigeria do differently, to avert such tales?
That is what I told you earlier on. We are very apprehensive. We are worried. We know that the third wave is looming in the air. The danger is clear. We have seen this, the risk of importation of these dangerous variants, or the variants that we don't know exactly. So Nigeria, we are fortifying our defense at the international borders, at the point of entry. We are also raising our alert level to ensure that surveillance is intensified. We're encouraging people to test at the health facilities. The healthcare workers are told to look out for these cases, people that satisfy the case definition, so that we detect these cases early and we don't start seeing hospital admissions and deaths before we know that we are really in.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mukhtar Mohammed, Technical Head, Presidential Steering Committee on COVID-19, and also National Incident Manager on COVID-19. Thank you for coming on Weekend File.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's take some messages now. Stay with us.
Although social media as a channel of communication is inherently harmless, it becomes harmful and damaging when used without discretion and thoughtfulness. Bad social media users spread rumors and fake news without verification. But good social media users stop, reflect, and verify information before sharing it. Be a good social media user. Stop the spread of fake news. Verify the authenticity of your source and use social media responsibly for a better Nigeria. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, in collaboration with the National Orientation Agency.
Just time to join Olumide Eguntola for Sports Update. Olumide.
Thank you, Joseph. Welcome to Sports Updates. Let's start with the English Premier League, and of course the match between Everton and Aston Villa ended 1-2, and it is in favor of Aston Villa. Aston Villa got the first goal in the 13th minute of play, while Everton leveled scores during the 19th minute of play. Villa scored his second goal, of course, which is the winning goal, in the 18th minute of play. Meanwhile, other matches decided today show that Crystal Palace lost 0-2 at home to table toppers Manchester City. City will secure a third title in 4 seasons if second place Manchester United lose at home to Liverpool on Sunday. Brighton and Hove Albion defeated Leeds United 2-0, while Chelsea also recorded a 2-0 win over Fulham. Other matches slated for Sunday are Newcastle against Arsenal, while Tottenham Hotspur takes on Sheffield United. Still on football, in Saturday's result of the second stanza of the Nigeria National League, Crown Football Club of Ogbomoso pipped Abia Comment via Alongo. Same margin, Osun United defeated Nilayo Football Club. J. Ateti also recorded a 2-1 win over Bayelsa United, among other results. Meanwhile, actions continue on Sunday when Delta Force takes on Inewi United. Dynamite Force will also host Van Dresser, while Ekiti United will be the guest of Shooting Star Sports Club. Moving on to volleyball now, the Nigeria Customs Women Volleyball Club is now ranked 4th best team in Africa after the team lost 0-3 at 18-25, 20-25 and 14-25 to Kenya Prisons in the 3rd place match of the 2021 CAVB Volleyball Club Championship in Tunisia.
Our best position before was 6th, and now we came 4th. And as you can see, the girls played, they fought, but let's just give it to Kenya Prisons because of the experience that they have over the years that they've been playing this championship. So this is our 3rd championship, and we got to the semi-finals and placing 4th. So next year will be better.
The team is expected back in Nigeria on Monday, and that's a sports update for tonight. Back to Joseph.
Thank you, Olumide. You can get more news and updates on www.nta.ng or follow us on our Twitter handle at NTA News Now. You can also like us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/NTA Network News, and also stay connected and subscribe to our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/NTA News Online. Also remember to watch our news live streaming at www.nta.ng/live. And that's NTA Weekend File for this week. Thank you very much indeed for your company. I'm Joseph Johnson. Remember to always stand with the NTA against rape and rapists. Good night.